Yeah. So what I'd like to do is I want to begin by sharing my story with you on how to be a positive change agent, no matter where you are. My story is unremarkable, yet remarkable in many ways. How many of you have tried to lead change?
Tried what?
Tried to lead change.
Lead change.
Lead, yeah.
Tried.
And how many of you have been successful? Yeah. And how many of you have failed spectacularly? Yes, yes. I understand how all of you feel because, as we know, leading change is hard. I am a government bureaucrat. Last February, I began my 33rd year of public service. I am proud to be a government employee, even with everything going on in our political landscape. I've loved the jobs I've held and felt that me and my teams really have and do make a difference. I started my federal career in high school and then joined permanently after college as an accounting technician at the age of 22. I quickly rose to the ranks and became a supervisor at the tender age of 25, supervising people that included my friends and people who are older than my mother, even my grandmother, I think. But I loved supervising. I loved being part of a team. That was when I first realized that working with people and helping them be their best was what it was all about, and it was when I was at my best. Intuitively, I followed my leadership path, moving to Washington, D.C. for 7 years, and I became a budget analyst, a special assistant to INS, which is Immigration Naturalization Service, their first CFO, and eventually I returned back to Vermont to become the head of financial operations for the newly formed U.S. Citizenship Immigration Services, which was formed after 9/11 and Homeland Security was created. In 2008, I was honored to be named USCIS's Manager of the Year. I always knew that leading people was my calling, and now I had the validation that leading people truly was what I was meant to do. I had arrived. I had reached the pinnacle of my career, or so I thought. Things were going really well in my life. After being divorced for 12 years, I married the man of my dreams who supported me, and more importantly, my career. My career was humming, my personal life was vibrant, and I was feeling like I was at the top of my game. Because I'm a lifelong learner and crave knowledge and challenges, I decided to go back to school and get my master's in public administration. One of the many books I read was on leadership in government, and I stumbled across something called emotional intelligence. I read about many interesting leadership concepts, frameworks, and methodologies, but I kept circling back to emotional intelligence. I was so intrigued that I decided to do my capstone project, and don't laugh, on the need for emotional intelligence in the Department of Homeland Security. As I began my research, I realized that leaders who practiced EI and had teams who embodied EI were more collaborative, trusting, productive, and engaged. Now that caught my attention, and I had to learn more. I came across an ability-based model of EI called the Mesquite, and reached out to one of the creators of the tool, David Caruso, who teaches a Mesquite certification class on the Yale campus in New Haven. I saw that he was conducting a workshop, and I told him my story. He was a little skeptical about whether it would have much value for me, but he welcomed me to come down, and I did. I have to admit, I was a little intimidated, because A, the workshop was held on the Yale University campus. Have anybody ever been there? It's quite impressive. Yeah. And B, everyone in the class, they were either consultants, psychologists, HR professionals, or leadership coaches. And I was the head of finance. I was way in over my head, and I loved it. So let me ask you, have you ever done something and you know that's what you were meant to do? Maybe it was that feeling you had, a gut reaction, goosebumps, or something bigger that was telling you to take a chance, dive in, and jump. Well, that's what happened to me. I knew in my bones that this was something that I had to do. I not only had to learn it, but I had to come back and I had to share it with my agency and anybody who would listen. I came back to work as we always do after attending a conference or a meaningful class full of hope, passion, eagerness, and positive energy, ready to teach EI to anyone who would listen. I went to my boss and I told him what I learned and told him I was certified to teach and the benefits of EI. And he listened, and he finally told me, go away. Not that, he didn't say that. He said, I don't think that's a good idea. In my head, I heard, go away. And then he said, Lisa, I've already hired a vendor who teaches EI. They teach all these great leadership skills, and they're just going to come in and teach all my supervisors how to lead. So I went away, and I was a little disappointed, a little deflated, but I was still hopeful. So for months I developed this EI workshop, and I reached out to David a few times and asking him questions, and he was so supportive in my yearning to bring EI to government. And then it happened. I found an opening, and I went after it. I was at a meeting, and one of the leaders in another office was sharing her frustration with her leadership team, and that no one trusted anyone, and therefore communication was breaking down and negativity was creeping in. I showed her great empathy, and I knew that it really bothered her. As we spoke about what she wanted, I told her about this workshop that I developed, and that helps leaders build trust, and she loved the idea. I was invited to her office in Vermont. She oversees 1,500 employees, and for 5 years, I taught workshop after workshop. Hundreds of her leaders went through, and many of them, even today, come back and say, thank you, that was so meaningful. I'm a better leader because of what I learned. I could see it and feel it. I was making a difference. Even though I didn't get to share EI with my own office, as long as I was getting my fix somewhere, I was satisfied. So while I loved teaching EI, I wasn't done learning. In 2011, I was invited to attend a 2.5-day conference to help shape the future of my alma mater, Champlain College. I was told that it would be an amazing experience and that I had to be part of it. How could I say no? Little did I know that it was an Appreciative Inquiry Summit. I had no idea what AI was, but boy, did I experience it from head to toe. If you've been to a summit, how many of you have been to a summit? You know what I mean. Again, it was like that feeling I had with emotional intelligence. I just knew it was something bigger than me and that I had to learn it and I had to share it with others. And that's where I met, ta-da, Lindsay Godwin. And she was just hired. It was your first day.
It was my very
first day.
Wow.
And there was 500 people in the room. And as I looked around the room, I gravitated towards her. I didn't know who she was, but there was something about her.
My mystique.
Yes. The aura. So Lindsay is the biggest cheerleader there is. And when I told her that I wanted to bring AI to government, she was all in.
Because I'm crazy.
You are, and I love it. And she got me into an AI overview class because I didn't know what AI was. And then I went through the certification class with David Cooperrider at Case Western, and you helped me plan my very first summit. Again, I knew, being realistic, I knew that my leadership would most likely not be open to the concept of a summit. So I looked at what I could do, and I realized that as president of the Vermont Federal Executive Association, I could hold a summit for our organization. So I invited all the federal government leaders for one day of discovering our strengths, sharing our dreams, and co-creating our vision for the future. And it was powerful. What was really powerful, that there was an idea that came from the summit that emerged, that became our rallying cry, and the shot in the arm that our association needed. For the first time in years, people felt included, engaged, excited, and they cared about an organization that they hadn't cared for before. Wow. I was so excited about AI that I knew I was ready, and I had the confidence to bring it to my work. Yes, let's bring it back to my organization. I mean, if I had success there, and it was powerful, and there were major things that happened, surely I could bring it back to my own organization. But guess what? I was wrong. I was wrong. When I wrote the concept and how it would work and presented it to my boss, he said, absolutely not. What is, and these are, I swear, it's like I can hear it. What is wrong with you? This isn't the way you make things happen. You're inviting all these opinions, and you need to tell them, Lisa, what to do and how it's going to be. You are the head of the office, not them. So I want you to go in and move out and just tell them what to do. Hearing those words, honestly, made me sick to my stomach. It was that moment that I knew that my values of inclusivity, diversity, collaboration just wasn't in alignment with my boss. and maybe my entire organization. I felt so demotivated, deflated, and disappointed. And to make matters worse, I became defiant.
Or to make matters
Positive
better.
deviance.
Yes, I just dug my heels in and I said, you know, I'm not going to tell people to just do it. That's not who I am. But guess what? There was a price to pay. After 25 years of being a respected leader across USCIS, my division was abolished. And I was given the task of maintaining our FAQs. You know what those are?
Yes.
Yeah, and
On the website?
and as an added bonus, the document library. Me, a woman who adored her team, who traveled to DC every month for 2 years to collaborate with people, who absolutely loved the work I did, I was now relegated to stay at home, work alone, and do a boring job that I could do in my sleep. I could still feel like it was yesterday. I was shocked, I cried, I was angry. I questioned myself, I grieved, I blamed, I loathed, and I just spiraled down. I tried to stay positive. I had a husband and friends who told me I was great, it's gonna be okay. My former employees, they mourned, they were so sad, and then they forgot about me. Everyone was moving on but me, so work became intolerable, and I sought out other jobs. I was desperate. Eventually, I found one that aligned to my strengths, probably 6 months later. Something our organization calls the quality workplace. I was asked to lead the effort for our field operations directorate that consists of over 5,000 employees all over the country that focused on employee engagement, recognition, and development. How perfect! For over a year, I worked in my strength, collaborating with people across the country, brainstorming and implementing ideas that really made a difference in our employees' lives. One of the ideas was holding virtual emotional intelligence workshops. Gee, I wonder where they got that idea. I don't know. But the idea was so popular that USCIS actually declared April 2015 Emotional Intelligence Month. It was a dream come true. I was able to conduct virtual workshops and reached hundreds of our employees all over the country. And you know what the cherry on top was? I was able to get David Caruso to come to DC to address a keynote presentation on AI to our entire agency. I can't tell you how proud I was to be able to introduce David. As he presented, I had to pinch myself. My dream of bringing AI to my agency finally came true. I was feeling really good. I was ready to set the world on fire. I had just started my new job in field operations when I saw an amazing opportunity to use AI. My boss, the head of our directorate, was new to his job, and he wanted to make his mark and leave his legacy. He was going to build his legacy. He was really frustrated, and he didn't know how to engage people in envisioning and planning the future. And everything he tried had failed miserably. Of course, I instantly thought of AI and how awesome this could be. Cautiously, I told him about it, and he liked the concept. I wrote it up. And when he saw that it would involve people across the country and would solicit their ideas, he froze. I remember our conversation again, like it just happened yesterday. Those are those moments, you know, that just stick out. I was on a video from Vermont, and he was in DC, and it was he and his assistant. And I'm going through the paper, very business-like, because he's a business guy, and I didn't flower it or anything. I was just trying to get through it. And I was walking him through how it would work. But then I started to get excited. Oh boy, I started to ramp up, and I gushed how great it would be, how awesome it would be to hear from all of our employees, get all the voices in the room and all that wonderful collaboration. And as I finished my sell job, he just looked at me across the video. And he just said, no, not the direction I want to go in. And I could feel my face literally fall. And I was thinking, oh no, another leader who doesn't share my values of inclusivity, diversity, and collaboration. And believe me, he could see my disappointment and even my disapproval. Abruptly, I ended the call before I started crying because I could feel it was coming. So I said thank you, and I hit click, and I was gone. Well, he didn't like that. After that disastrous meeting, he sent me an email saying that I needed to support leadership and support management, and then even if I didn't believe in what he chose, I just better get in line because that's what good employees do. So he did end up launching a future-focused initiative, and he even called it what I had suggested, which was hysterical that he called it, but then he intentionally disinvited me and I wasn't part of it at all. Done. I was devastated. I began to feel myself slipping back into despair, but I refused to do it this time. Instead, I focused on my strength and what I wanted. That is when I came across the opportunity to become a leadership coach. Our agency has an agreement with the Treasury Executive Institute to train people to become certified coaches. My boss agreed because I told him that it was part of my development, and I could then offer my services to our other leaders. For over a year, I attended classes in Washington, I practiced coaching, I went through all the criteria, and I became a certified coach in November of 2015. Then I became certified in a 360 assessment tool called the Leadership Circle Profile, which focuses on creative aspects of leadership instead of reactive, all positive strength-based coaching. And then I took a certification course called Immunity to Change. How do we overcome the things that hold us back? And it was all geared towards helping our leaders operate from that creative space and positive space. So even though I'm a special assistant, that's my title, I just decided to change my title to leadership coach. There's no such thing in government. I just made it up. Nobody's told me not to. Thank you. Creativity, thank you. Nobody says anything. I just say leadership coach.
Just a positive deviant.
Yeah. So I was ready. I was like, all right, I've learned how to coach now. I'm ready to take it on. And any guesses what happened? No one took me on my offer. I put myself out there. I'm ready. One of our senior leaders is kind of hurt. We have a senior leader in the Midwest, and he oversees a couple thousand people. And he really likes me, likes my energy, likes my ideas, and he knows our culture. And he said, Lisa, he says, I hate to tell you this, but what you're selling, no one's buying. Wow, that hurt. And the feelings started to come back, those feelings of despair, of deflating, disappointment. And I said, nope, you gotta keep moving, Lisa, stay positive. Someone is buying. My boss didn't know it yet, but he was about to become my biggest customer. One of the initiatives that came out of all that planning they were doing without me was creating a leadership development program for our new field offices directors. We have 86 of them across the country. My boss is an action-oriented, move-out kind of guy, and he decided he was ready to launch it. He said it's going to begin in 2 months. There was no structure, no one in charge, no outcomes identified, no money, no guidance, other than it's going to last 2 years. It's going to involve a detail as a field office director, and it's going. So I thought, you know what, here's my chance. So I volunteered. I raised my hand, and I said, you know what, if you don't have anybody, I'll do it. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I said, I'll do it. I had no oversight, no accountability, but a lot of pressure to get it right. His name was on this. It was his baby. These people were going to be the future leaders, he told everybody, of our agency, and he was putting his reputation on it. I was like a kid in a candy shop. I developed a program that I always envisioned. It involved the leadership circle profile, emotional intelligence, appreciative inquiry, mentoring, coaching, and the technical skills that they need to survive and thrive. And it was really successful. It started in August of 2015. It was so successful that we just announced another cohort that's going to begin this summer, and I'll run that program. And then he thought, well, if it's so great, let's get all of our field leaders in it. And they have similar. And of course, I raised my hand again. I'm still on my own, but until somebody tells me to stop, I'm just going to keep doing it. Just keep doing it under the radar. So being involved with this program gives me hope about the future of our agency. And I'm continually inspired by these future leaders that I am supporting them. I'm part of this effort. The reason I'm sharing my story is that leading change, following your passion, and living your strengths is not easy. I made some huge mistakes, and it cost me dearly. But I also learned some lessons that I will remember going forward, and I'd like to share a few of them with you. The first one is follow your strengths. There's a video called The Truth About You by Marcus Buckingham. And I believe David Cooperrider mentioned it when I was taking the AI certification class. And it changed my life forever. As I watched the video, that feeling came over me again. The goosebumps, like, oh my God. I realized that a strength is not what you're good at. It's what you love. And while I was really good at finance, I really loved teaching others. And it was in that moment that I chose to become a leadership coach. Develop yourself. You can't do something you love and get good at it if you don't learn it and practice it. So you have to embody what you learn and really walk the walk, not just talk the talk. So what are those courses and activities that you need to do that will align and showcase your strengths? Develop your resilience. We always hear how important resilience is, and to be successful in life, you must be resilient. I had no idea what that meant until I was at a low point in my career. Resilience, I was told, has 3 parts: despair, forgiveness, and hope. I certainly experienced despair. And I did a lot of work forgiving others and actually forgiving myself. But it was hope that helped me get up, dust myself off, and start over. And to be resilient, you need to do something else as well. Take care of yourself. So many times we put others before ourselves. But like the flight attendant says, when they demo the oxygen mask, you must put yours on first before you can help others around you. In order to lead change, you need to build your resiliency by getting at least, hearing the mom here, 7 hours of sleep, eating nourishing food, exercising 3 to 4 times a week, doing those activities that relax and rejuvenate you, and spending time with the people you love. This is something I live my life by because there are days that take all the strength I have to make it through. Seek out support, a champion, an advocate, a mentor, or someone with influence. When sharing your ideas, you will find that some people get intrigued or excited about what you're sharing and they want to learn more. Pay attention and connect to those people. Who can help you do what you want to do or get you where you want to be? If I hadn't found David and Lindsay, honestly, I wouldn't be where I am today. Just wouldn't. Meet people where they are. This is where I stumbled. I recently learned something that's changed my life. It's called the platinum rule. I grew up with the golden rule. Treat others as you want to be treated. But I found something so much better. The platinum rule is treat others as they want to be treated. If only I knew that sooner. I was looking at everything through my positive lens and I had drunk the Kool-Aid. I wanted everyone to drink it. I didn't learn the culture. I didn't learn what was important to my leaders. I wasn't humble. I didn't talk their language. And instead, I used words such as, no offense, flourish, co-create, embody, love, passion. And they just shut down on me. So now I remember the platinum rule and I flex towards them and I meet them where they are. Find your tribe. You may not find the support you need at work, so you have to find it somewhere. Look around. Who is doing what you do? Who do you want in your boat to help you navigate when the waters get rough? For me, it's my husband, my family, my friends, and my mentors. I also joined a talent development organization, a lady circle, a book club, a card club, a golf league, and I volunteer. I have so many people who every day inspire and motivate and support me that I know that I can do anything I put my mind to. And then look for opportunities. We all know the cliche, when one door closes, another one opens, but it is so true. When I was at my lowest points, something else came along. There was a sign, and I jumped. The key is, don't look down, look up. See what's going on around you. Are you listening in meetings with people for frustration or hope or pain points and finding ways to help by sharing your knowledge? How can what you do help move them forward in a positive direction? And don't let fear overwhelm you. Fear is a powerful emotion. We all know the amygdala hijack, and we tend to fight, flight, or freeze when we feel these powerful emotions. None of them are good, especially in business. Instead, let your fear motivate you to action. Instead of fear, choose hope. Notice where negative emotion shows up for you so you can recognize it. It's understandable to feel anxiety at times, but don't let it shut you down. Instead, manage your emotion and fill up your emotional reserve by doing those things that rejuvenate you. Take risks, experiment, and fail. You will make mistakes. But it is from those mistakes that greatness happens. We all know that. If you have resilience and support, you'll have the strength to try new things and reach new heights that you never thought possible. Failing is only valuable if you learn from it. And you can grow even when you fail. It's called courage. Listen, truly listen. Get curious, stay open. This is an area that I work on every day. If you haven't guessed, I'm a wicked extrovert, and I'm passionate about what I do. If you don't share my personality, I could easily shut you down and not even know it. As a coach, I've had to learn to listen, not just hear, but truly listen. My coach told me, Lisa, you should only be talking 20% of the time. Really? I know, I'm still working on it. Listening means hearing what others say, understanding what they say, and picking up on emotional cues that they may not be saying. That's right. It's not judging, it's not shutting them down. It's about staying open, staying curious, and truly seeking to understand the other person's point of view. And lastly, don't get too attached. When I want something really badly, I go all in. I will work my butt off, learn it, practice it, share it, and I embody and own it completely. When people don't want what I am offering, I have been known to take it quite personally. So I have developed a new mantra called Q-tip. Quit taking it personally. I carry one around, I swear to God. Just because I love what I do doesn't mean everyone will, and that's okay. Instead of getting upset, move on and find somebody who thinks it's as great as you do. The idea is actually quite freeing and has allowed me more space to be creative. In closing, I want to thank you again for allowing me to share my story. I hope you found it helpful. And if you want to reach out to me, I'm happy to support you in your journey like others have done for me. I'm excited about what's next for me. I will be running 2 leadership programs starting this summer. My private coaching business is thriving. I'm teaching Mesquite certifications classes with David on the Yale campus, and we're actually writing a book together. And I'm continuing to do AI work and teaching an AI class at the Naval Postgraduate School for Government Leaders, thanks to my friend Lindsay. I am truly grateful for the gifts I have been given, and know that even when I fail or something goes wrong in my life, that I built my resiliency to bounce back and carry on. Thank you and have a wonderful day.